Hello, back with another video. I've had a couple people ask how I clean my watch crystals because I mentioned in a video that you can clean up some scratches, and I just use stuff you can find around the house to clean up the scratches. And they generally turn out pretty well. All I use is like a file you can get like at a beauty store for nails. This is the most coarse side, and then there's other sides that are less coarse, and just toothpaste. So I have a couple examples here. Have a Waltham I picked up last week, and has a lot of fine little scratches on it, plus some that's paint or something on the crystal there. But this works for acrylic crystals, so plastic. You can polish the mineral crystals or the glass type crystals. You need different equipment for that to kind of work. I really don't mess around with that. Like I said, most of my watches are the vintage watches that I pick up are pre-1980. So a lot of those just use the acrylic plastic type crystal. So I have that one, and then I'll work on this Timex. Has a big scratch right there. It might be a crack, so that won't probably come out. But a lot of these fine little scratches you see, it's kind of dull. Hopefully I'll be able to get those up and make the dial a lot more shiny. But I don't have a tripod, so I'm going to do this in stages and show you how it goes. And then another quick little update about my sales. I showed you guys probably a couple weeks ago, I picked up this fancy pencil sharpener, and I showed you a video. I paid $2.50 for it. I did sell it, and I took a best offer of $120. So I'm gonna, when I'm done doing the watches here, I'll pack that up and ship it out. And then with the Superpowers figures, I sold the Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman that did not have the comic books. Those sold for $69.95, and if I told you guys I paid $80 for all of them. So those three are the best right there with the comic. I actually have these listed right now on eBay, these two, the Dr. Fate and Red Tornado, and those have a $50 bid. So that was a great little turnaround on a stop on the second day of the estate sale. So back to the watches here. Like I said, I do not have a tripod, so I'll have to stop and start. But what I do is I take the coarse end and just rub it across the crystal for about 2 or 3 minutes, rotating between the coarse and the finer sides. And I'll show a video what it looks like when I'm done. So I'll go ahead and stop the video here and show you what it looks like after. But like I said, I rub it different angles to basically scratch the surface. And when you see it, it looks actually worse than what it does now. So I'll go ahead and stop the video here and scratch it up and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like after the filing, and you're probably saying, oh my gosh, they look horrible. And yes, they do, but this is just part of the process. You guys have to make sure you don't actually get the file on the metal around the crystal, because you will scratch it, and unless you buff it out, it's probably going to leave some damage on the watch case itself. So just make sure you file the crystal only. I've seen some people use like painter's tape to tape around the bezel just in case they scratch it. The watches I do this on are generally watches under a couple $100, so if I did scratch a little bit, it's no big deal. It's not like it's a Rolex or anything like that. So these are just relatively inexpensive watches I attempt to do this repair on. So that's what the Timex looks like, and this is the Waltham. and it looks like the what I thought was a paint mark or something. You can still see it. I think it might be on the inside of the crystal, so that's not going to come out. So again, this is what it looks like after the using the file on it. And sometimes you'll do this and you don't like the results, so you can repeat the process over to try and get more scratches out. But that's what it looks like now. And next step would be to use a first is to wipe off the residue, and then use the towel and glob some toothpaste on the dial crystal, rub it for about a minute, and you have to depress pretty hard to do the polishing. And then when you're done, use the other side of the washcloth and wipe the toothpaste off. What I normally do is just put a dab of water on it to make sure you get all the toothpaste residue off the crystal and the sides of the watch. And obviously these are probably not waterproof anymore based on their age, so to make sure you do not get any water around the crown there. So we'll clean these off, put some toothpaste on, rub it around, and see how it looks. So I just put a glob of toothpaste on, but you can see when I cleaned off a lot of the residue, how scratched the surface looks now. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, there's no way that's going to come back. But so this is what it looks like before, so you don't panic on the how scratched the surface looks now. As you can see on this one, that blemish appears to be on the inside of the watch, so that cannot be repaired. So let's use the toothpaste and see how it goes. Okay, I'm back. Kind of have some mixed results here. This is how the Waltham turned out, and it looks like a lot of the scratches and discoloration are on the inside of the dial, inside of the crystal. So it didn't turn out all that great. It looks a little bit better than it did before, but a lot of the scratches, or not scratches, but discoloration is from the inside out. So even with a little polishing, took out some of the surface scratches, but the dial still looks dull. So that would need a whole crystal replacement. Timex turned out better, as you can see. So that large scratch up here did mostly come out. So that's the after. Again, just used a nail file you get at a beauty supply place, and toothpaste, and it looks a lot better. Not as dull. And a lot of the little tiny scratches are removed, and the big scratch, I'm surprised it did come off mostly. So, and this is, I did the purple Timex, and you saw in a previous video that had a few scratches and looked dull, and the toothpaste and file cleaned that one up pretty nicely. Probably could use another round and work on the top up there, but I was pretty happy with the results. As you can see, there's still some fine scratches from using the nail file, but it definitely gives the watch a better appearance. And this was also another good turnaround. This dial, I should have had taken a before. This one you could hardly even read the dial itself. Had several large scratches, like 3 on the top here, and amazingly those were able to come off. So this would have been the best before and after of the group, but unfortunately I didn't show a before of this watch because I really didn't think it would work, how bad it was gone. But so yeah, just a little tip for you guys. Again, I wouldn't use this for high-end watches, but just your flea market, estate, garage sale watches. It's a good technique to get them to look more presentable. Until next time, take care.